Welcome to the Sailor Noob podcast, where a superfan and a noob talk about the original Sailor Moon episode by episode. I'm your host, Mikan Hana, joined by my co-host.
I'm the co-host and the noob, Caliban, reminding you to spay and neuter your pets. Unless they're magical moon cats, and then it's their decision.
Fair enough. And we're a couple of magical people ready to moon crystal power make up this episode. Sailor Noob is brought to you by Stupid Cat, what are they telling you? Stupid Cat, it's not your fault.
It's not. You're just redundant because we've already got a magical cat.
Oh.
And you were ported in from a different comic series.
Single tier. Major single tier.
We never have a thing where Luna's like, oh, I'm going to eat fish like this. And then Artemis is like, I'm going to eat fish like this. And it's the same thing.
Right.
Although in this episode, we do have, this is two blonde chicks are going to save the day?
Yep.
Again?
I'm
not complaining.
No.
But I'm kind of complaining.
You are a little bit. I think they do a magnificent job, but, you know.
I suppose they do, although one wonders if maybe one of them could have handled it.
It's better with two, you know. I think
as Loki has shown us.
Yeah.
Maybe two is the way to go.
Maybe, although they kind of diverge from that at the end.
We're not going to say anything, but if you want to hear more about Loki this coming weekend.
Yes.
It is the weekend. This Sunday, or Monday really, is when our podcast, the Just Enough Trope show, drops, and this will be completely useless for the aliens listening to this in the year 3100. I apologize, but we'll be talking about the finale of the recent Loki series.
Yes.
So if that's something you're into, come hear us talk about it, spoilers and all, and talk about Marvel comic universe in general, cinematic universe.
How complicated it is.
It should be the MMU, the Marvel movie universe, because there's a Marvel comic universe.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can. I'm going to run that up the chain.
But MCU sounds better.
Yeah.
So that's why they went with that,
comics
right?
Have been around for 70 years, so maybe they should have a little precedence. But anyway, the point is that that's what we're talking about there. And if you like your live action entertainment, and maybe not your animated entertainment, your drawn entertainment, then you should check out our coverage of Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon, the live-action Sailor Moon series from the aughts. And we are talking about that on our Patreon at patreon.com/Sailor Moon.
Yes.
Every week we are diving into
Sailor Noob.
Another... Yes. Well, whatever. It's only our source of revenue.
You'll find us.
It's something that we just work on constantly. But you'll probably find it anyway. But we're talking every week about a new episode of this wacky ass show.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I would have been caught dead watching Power Rangers after the first episode that I watched of Power Rangers, which was the first episode. Not for me, but this is basically the same thing. So I don't, except there's no Bulk and Skull.
I think
it's kind of Usagi.
But I think
she's the comedy character.
She is, but I think I have a newer appreciation for tokusatsu too, and just knowing that it's a whole genre, it's not just Power Rangers. And I feel like I distanced myself from Power Rangers because I was just at that verge where I was a little too old, maybe, or maybe I felt that way because my younger sister was super into it. So I was like, that's not for me, that's for little kids.
Yeah, you gotta appreciate it though.
Yeah,
a lot of actors jogging until other stunt actors that know kung fu take their places.
I'm sure.
Outfits.
Yeah, right. They worked very hard on that show. I have no doubt. So much respect. So today we are talking about episode number 79. Artemis no Boken, Mano Dobutsu o Koku in Japanese. Artemis's Adventure, the Monster Animal Kingdom, the English translation, and the English title, Dog Day for Artemis.
Yeah. Yeah, it certainly is.
Yeah.
It's
not quite a dog day afternoon.
It's a real Cattica situation.
Yeah. brought it back.
Yeah.
Which we just, apropos of
we
nothing.
We don't need to slow down to explain Dog Day Afternoon.
No, but I just watched for the
Afternoon.
first time, and it's an excellent film.
It's a very good movie.
Yeah.
But anyway, that has nothing to do with this.
No.
There are no cats in that.
Or dogs, really.
No.
It's just a Dog Day Afternoon.
Yeah. Well, I don't think. I mean, if you get to the end of Dog Day Afternoon, you go, wasn't any dogs in there? Then you've missed the point.
Yes. Absolutely.
Let's just say Pacino's the dog. Let's just say that.
Whoa.
He's the metaphorical dog.
Okay. All right.
If there was a Disney version of this film, Dog Day Disney Afternoon, for instance, he would be a goofy type character with the big thing and then the black button nose on the top and the floppy ears. Big floppy shoes, the big clown shoes, you know, and he's on the phone and he's like, I just want to say to the love of my life, I'm sorry that... yeah, anyway, just watch the movie. Take our word for it.
All right. Well, we've got a lot to cover. Would you like to give us a synopsis?
Let me give a recap.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know if it's going to be a synopsis. Doesn't that mean short?
Does a synopsis short?
Doesn't that mean short in Greek? I don't know if we're going to be able to do that.
I guess okay.
But we can try.
Okay.
I'm going to... Let's try to make this introduction to the recap as long as possible. A longopsis, for instance.
I think we can stretch it out
open
as much
in
as
a
possible.
kitchen. It's not a Kokumama's kitchen. Not with that backsplash. No, it's apparently the kitchen for a local restaurant. And we hear the chef say, hey, get out of here.
Pretty much.
And Artemis's head pops into frame. It's great comic timing and blocking here. And he runs out of the kitchen. He's dodging pots and pans. He flees over a wall in the alleyway behind Restaurant Chateau Latour. Mm-hmm. Which means castle tower, or the tower of the castle.
Yes.
I believe. A furious chef runs out after him, but the magical cat has disappeared.
Yes.
Back at the Sakino house, Artemis is breathing heavily and relating his adventure to Luna. He's just telling her, oh boy, you wouldn't believe what happened.
I know.
And she calls him stupid. Then he explains that he was searching for the enemy's hideout. She wonders, though, why he only searches in the backs of restaurants.
Yeah.
She says, get your act together soon, or Stupid Cat will be your nickname. I wonder why stupid is like the worst thing these people can call each other. Is it a translation thing, or is it a cultural thing, or is it a censorship thing? This is as far as we can go on a kid's show.
I mean, I think we want to keep it kid friendly for
but like
sure.
in Japan, like in Japanese culture, like this, the worst thing that you could be called is baka. Baka Usagi or baka Neko is the last word on insults for Sailor Moon.
I think it for a culture that tends to really appreciate and respect intelligence, I think it's one of the worst insults.
But what do you call somebody? What do you call somebody who is like? They also have a big focus on conformity, and I don't mean like the kind they teach you about when you become a teenager. I mean like social conformity, like doing things for the good of the society. So somebody who is not doing that, who is, let's say, disrupting the quiet of the subway, do they have a word for that, or is that person just an animal? And since he's already an animal, we'll just call him stupid.
Well, I'm sure they do have a word for it. I don't know what it is, though. But that is a really good question.
Well, let me get some random Japanese syllables, and I'll make some suggestions. In the hallway, Chibi is carrying Usagi's laundry, which she hasn't put away, and she kicks in the door to Usagi's room just in time to catch Artemis square in the face.
Yeah.
Later, Usagi's there, and Chibi is apologizing to Artie, who has a huge bump on his head, and Chibi says, it looks like a moon! And everybody has a good laugh over that.
I know. Artie
walks out in a huff, and Luna says, he's just irritated because he hasn't played a very active role lately. It's like Luna watches this show. It's like she listened to the intro of this show.
She's super mean sometimes, though.
Yeah, well, you'll see the effect of that. Artie pops his head back in, like Homer Simpson, making sure everybody's watching him stomp away, and says, Luna, I'm not talking to you anymore. This is the last time I'm talking to you.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
I'll be back later to make sure that you know I'm not talking to you. And he's off out of the house. Usagi and Luna run into the street to see that he's nowhere to be found. Luna feels kind of bad, but Usagi says, I'll be the mediator and solve this. And Luna's not happy with that.
Understandably.
We cut to Monaco's room, and oh my god, there is an army of stuffed animals.
Yeah.
And now that I have finished the episode, I feel like it's supposed to be a thing.
I do too,
But it doesn't connect in any meaningful way, as you'll see when we reach the end of this recap / synopsis. But anyway, It's like the scene in Dodgeball, where Vince Vaughn goes into Ben Stiller's wife's bedroom and he's like, wow, it's just wall-to-wall unicorns. And she's like, I like unicorns. Artie is sulking on the bed while Mina is knitting, which is such a Mina thing to do. He says, I've got pride as a man too. Do you? A man cat? A tomcat? A tomcat.
Yeah.
I've got pride as a tom.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Mina says, so you had a fight with Luna, huh? Also, she's wearing an orange sweater with like a blue scarf, or maybe it's like the neck of the sweater. She looks like a palette-swapped Fred from Scooby-Doo. Player 2 Fred has entered the game. She says, well, they always say, here we go again, nothing ventured, nothing chained. Okay, I've had it, because I guess that would work if she was speaking English.
Right. But
she's not. She's speaking Japanese.
Yes.
And they've localized it and just found some other proverb that they could mess up. So it must be a word replacement pun in Japanese like it is in English, whatever she says originally. So sit tight, buckle up. I tracked down the Japanese subtitles for the episode.
Okay.
And obviously, we all know you put something in, you want to send a message to your Latin lover, and you put something into Google Translate, and it's not, I want to milk your cow or whatever. It never comes out right.
Right.
Just me? But anyway, but she says, from ancient times, like this is an old saying, I can only think of myself when I throw myself away.
What?
And then Artie says, no, it's not like Setomono too. Setomono is a Japanese porcelain or crockery style.
Okay.
But after that he says, no, there's also a floating sea.
Okay.
It's like I've got as many head injuries as Artemis has in this episode. I tracked that down to a song lyric from the song, we're still going, Spring is Sure to Come by Akemi Mizuzawa, who is a classic like 70s, 80s singer.
Sure.
Which sounds like There's Got to Be a Morning After, which is from the Poseidon Adventure, which stars Ernest Borgnine, who's won an Oscar, and Al Pacino's won an Oscar, Dog Day Afternoon. Cattica! 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 No, right.
Oh my God.
So it's like, that lyric is followed by the line, luck will surely come. So it's about optimism. It's a proverb of optimism.
Okay.
So she's supposed to be telling him to be optimistic, but I don't know what, I can only think of myself when I throw myself away. Now, I can't read phonetic Japanese. I can't read ancient Japanese.
Right.
So I don't know what the substitution would be. But Artie says, ukabuse mo aradaro. That's his, the floating sea thing. Which, when he says it, the same aradaro, it sounds maybe kind of like Setomono.
Okay,
so maybe that's where she's made the switch. And what weirds me out is Mina's Japanese, right?
Yes.
If Mina was like, it was a real blonde girl and came over here and she's making these mistakes because it's her second language. Did she grow up abroad or something like that?
No, she went to England for a while.
Right,
but...
yeah. I mean, she spent some time out of the country. But...
Yeah.
So it would make sense if the actress then suddenly said, you'd throw your chain away or whatever, like sometimes the actors say English, and it's pretty good English because they're voice actors, but it's not perfect.
Right.
But she doesn't. She's doing it in Japanese, and it's a Japanese proverb. So this game that they're playing with us, with the audience, still doesn't work.
Where they try to localize it. Yeah.
So if any of that made any sense at all, listeners, if you have any experience in this and you can cast any light on this, please do. Let us know, sailornoob2@gmail.com, because I would love to put this to bed.
Because proverb every time mystery?
This is like a weird noise in your house. You're just sitting there watching Cake Boss, and you're like,
oh my God.
Did you hear that beat? Did you hear that beat? Is it in this part of the room?
What was that?
I think it's over in this corner.
What's making that
No,
noise?
it's over there. The cat's thinks you're crazy.
Yeah, right.
So that's what this is. Every time they play this little game, it drives me nuts.
I know.
Anyway, we'll move on. Told you it wasn't gonna be a synopsis. More of a recap. She tells him if he doesn't have the resolve to sacrifice himself sometimes, he'll never accomplish anything. Careful what you tell this cat to do.
Yeah, I know.
He has been hit in the head. Artie thinks, resolve, that's the ticket. I'll do something great and Luna will have to respect me. And he takes off. On the street, Luna and Usagi are running to Minako's place to find Artemis, and they do find him at high speed.
Yeah.
They crash into each other at a corner, and Usagi ends up stepping on his head.
I know.
It's all about head trauma this episode for Artie.
Yes.
Luna calls him dumb again, but Usagi says, okay, all right, allow me to mediate this situation. And Artie's like, before you do that, could you take your foot off my head?
Yeah.
And she does, but the situation is too funny. And they laugh at him again.
I know.
It's too much for him, and he runs off. He runs down an alleyway, and we hear a chorus of little mews as he finds a box of kittens that's in the trash.
I know.
Who's the real villain of this show? Who threw kittens away?
I know.
A horn sounds and a car pulls up, and out of the car comes a mysterious man in a hat and trench coat. He takes the kittens and drives off, and Artemis decides that this is his chance to do something great. So he runs after the car. We cut to another alley where an old dog is written around in a trash can, and the same mysterious man offers the dog some sausages or something.
Yes.
And the dog gets in his car, and Artie, who's watching from under another car, thinks, he's kidnapping that dog too.
I know.
That's dog napping, Artie, but you might have something there. Downtown in the shopping district, which seems a lot warmer than last week, but nevertheless, we see Esmeraude in a lavender fur coat.
Yeah.
And in my head canon, she's crumpling up a receipt for a box of kittens and just throwing it.
Oh my gosh!
Well, who left those kittens there?
I don't know.
She's
Good
using
point.
her dark crystal earring to douse the location for her next dark henge. And she finds it. She is standing at the gates of Great Animal Kingdom, which is like an animal reserve, or a zoo, I guess. They have everything in Azerbaijan.
Yeah.
It's like Duckburg.
Yeah. No kidding. Yes.
They would need race cars, lasers, and airplanes.
And a huge room where you can swim through your coins.
Oh, clearly. As she's doing this, a couple of people walk by and they're laughing. And I don't know if they're laughing at her because she's acting a little weird. But like as they do this, she like puts her earring back on and she thinks to herself, being beautiful is also a sin.
Such a great line.
But as she says this, her leg starts to feel warm, and she looks down to see a little puppy peeing on her.
Yeah.
Now people are laughing at her, and she chases the puppy into Great Animal Kingdom, running past Ami and Makoto. Guys, eyes open, head on a swivel.
Yeah.
Bad guy went that way. They don't see her.
Nope.
I like the Ami-Mako pairing. You don't see it often. It's like Dr. Crusher and Worf. We don't get these two together very often.
I like them too. I think they're a good pairing.
A car also drives by the girls going into the sanctuary, and Artemis is inside.
How did that happen?
I think he went for some of those sausages. Mako's like, wasn't that Artie? And Ami says, oh, I wasn't looking. She's reading a language book, and she's trying to memorize 100 English words a day. So maybe she can help me with this proverb thing. Inside Great Animal Kingdom, it's beautiful. It's like the Garden of Eden for homeless pets.
Yeah.
It's a nice environment.
Yeah.
Inside, we see cages with cats and dogs and rabbits, other small animals. The mystery man, who has taken off his coat and hat, we see that he has a chin-strap beard, like Gregory Peck in Moby Dick.
Yeah.
Just picture that. He says, let's begin the medical examinations. But he says it in a nice way.
Whoa.
It's a nice way.
Whoa.
And his nurse says, wow, these pets are lucky to be picked up by such a nice man. Now, where's that barbecue sauce?
Oh,
Just
my
kidding.
goodness.
Just kidding. This pair of kindly scientists are immediately electrocuted by Esmeraude, and they fall to the floor. Esme calls her dark henge and installs it in the floor of the lab, and she summons Dogba, her droid. Dogba transforms herself into the guise of the female researcher. Also, the dark energy washes over the old dog and the box of kittens.
I know.
And their eyes glow red. Dogba snaps her fingers, and the dog and cats begin to walk on their front legs.
Yes!
Like a handstand for an animal?
It's weird.
What?
It's very strange.
Esme loves this, and she laughs riotously. And Dogma says, Lady Esmeraude, you're a little too loud.
I love it. I love it so much.
At the Sakino house, Usagi and Luna get the news that Artie has gone to the Great Animal Kingdom, which sounds like a euphemism for death.
Yes.
But it's just an animal shelter.
Yes.
That great animal kingdom in the sky. All the girls are hanging out in Usagi's room, and Usagi thinks that Artie has decided to run away from home because he's tired of Luna bullying him. It's like she watches this show. Luna says, that's ridiculous, but that's what an abuser would say.
Right. Yeah, right.
Usagi says the only one to get him back is Luna. Luna says, you're blowing this out of proportion. But Usagi says, can you afford to say that right now? If something happens, you're going to regret it. Ray says, you can be pretty mean to him. And Minako, whose cat they're talking about that's missing,
I know,
and hasn't said anything up to this point, says, there's alligators at the Great Animal Kingdom, and snakes, and tigers. By now, Artemis might be... And she turns around. She's got a white kimono and ghost lights. She's doing the ghost hands.
Yes.
And she goes, I'll haunt you forever. So at least she's having fun.
I know, but it's like, why are you doing that about your cat?
I know. Maybe, well, I don't know. They had a fight before, I guess. Luna says, all right, I'll go. And in busts Chibiusa, who I'm assuming was listening to all of this in the hall. She says, are you guys going to the zoo? I want to go.
Yeah.
And Usagi says, no way. But Chibi says, I'll tell Mamo-chan that you were mean to me. And Usagi's like, 6 tickets to the zoo. Let's go. At the zoo, Artie watches as the dog and those kittens begin putting on a show for the patrons. The cats are riding on the dog's back. There's a bunch of other dogs who form a giant pyramid.
Yeah.
Which reminds me of the movie Last Action Hero, which came out before this, where there's a bad guy and he's got some attack dogs. He says, I assure you they're well trained. And then Schwarzenegger turns around and the dogs are like standing in a pyramid.
I don't remember that from that movie. That's so funny.
That's what it reminds me of.
Okay.
Gotcha show. Everyone loves it. And then the animals' eyes flash red. And they maul the crowd.
I know.
They just, it's like, chaos.
What is the plan here?
These dogs and cats go ham on the spectators.
I know.
They're going to get the energy of blood drawn from torn flesh. Dogba is laughing evilly. Artie's being chased by the old dog, and he leaps over a trash can to see Luna hiding inside. She says, this way. The two of them hide while the dog runs by. He's old. He asks, why are you here? She says, I came to here for, I was just passing by, okay?
Yeah.
What are you doing here? Did you do something stupid again? And he's like, okay, whatever. You just leave. But she says, okay, I came here for you, but I'm going to go now. And she starts to walk away. And he thinks about the fact that she was worried for him.
Yes.
But he says, Luna, I'll see you again if I make it. And he leaps off to solve the mystery. And as he does, Luna calls his name, and he trips on a can, and he falls on his face, and she calls him stupid.
Yep.
A story in 3 acts.
Yep, pretty much. It's like a 3-paneled, comic strip.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, it's a Garfield.
Yeah, exactly.
Garfield. All the humans are crowded around a public telephone. Remember those?
Yeah.
They're at a payphone. They're trying to call the police because these animals have gone crazy. But a red-eyed chipmunk eats through the phone line.
Oh, my God.
They've thought of everything.
I know.
Dogba appears among the animals and reverts to her real shape. She spins her whip, and she wraps it around a guy's neck, electrocuting him. We cut to the dark henge and Esme, and we see that the henge is growing. Mm-hmm. At the gates of the zoo, Usagi and Minako are just waiting for Luna, and they see a crowd of panicked people run out. They miss some. Mm-hmm. Those girls immediately transform, and they run in. Inside, Dogba has just whipped everyone to the ground. Everybody's down. Women, children, everybody's on their face. I know,
yeah.
Artemis sees this and knows he has to get involved. He makes a dash at her and leaps, presumably to commence the scratching. Yes. But he is knocked down by a clouder of evil kitties. Herd of cats called a clouder. He's struggling to get up when Dogba whips at him, and he dodges. But no, he's surrounded by all the possessed animals, and he has to face off against Dogba. Before that can happen, a snow monkey?
Yeah, I don't...
Lassos his back leg?
Why does this monkey have a lasso?
He's got a jump rope or something?
Yeah, Dogba has a whip. Why does this monkey have a... What is happening here?
He's got a monkey whip.
Yeah, right.
He's a droid monkey, maybe. I don't know. So now he can't go anywhere. He's immobilized.
Yeah.
Dogba rears back for the whip de gras. But just then, Luna comes crashing into the monkey, sending him flying and freeing Artie. Luna says, look, stop! You can't handle a foe like this alone. He says, no, I have to do this to prove that I'm not stupid. See, Luna, this is what bullying does.
Yeah, right.
Luna is in kitty tears, and Artemis realizes how much she cares about him. But Dogba whips at Luna and sends her sprawling. And I should say, every time one of the cats gets knocked towards the surrounding ring of animals, one of the dogs goes and just kicks them back into the middle.
It's the same dog, too. That was really funny.
It's like, there's like fighting games like that, when you're surrounded by, and then if you get too close, there's danger when you hit the wall, somebody pushes you back in or something.
Sure.
Artie faces Dogba down, ready to die to protect Luna. Dogba winds up big with her whip, and with a Dogba sends her whip arching towards him. And if you're a fan of this show, like I am, then you said out loud, like I did, Venus, love me, chain!
Yes!
Venus's attack strikes the whip and destroys it. And when the dust clears, the two cats are gone from the circle of dogs, hightailing it to the bushes. Where stands Sailor Moon and Sailor Venus. Moon says, how dare you turn the innocent hearts of animals to evil? And Venus follows, even if God and Buddha will forgive you, together, we will not!
It's amazing.
So she's mad.
Yeah.
Leave my cat alone.
Yeah. Exactly.
With a dogba! The droid sicks her army of dogs on the pair of scouts, and they're like, oh, I didn't plan on this. And the possessed dogs and cats have them surrounded. From the bushes, Artie says, we can't let this happen. But Luna tells him not to join the fight. We get a sparkling wide pressure and a burning mandala, which combine to create a blast that drives the animals back. And a shine aqua illusion forms a wall of ice around the animals.
Yeah.
Usagi is super jazzed when Mercury has rounded up the animals. She's like, whoa, you did it! Yay! Ha, you did it! Dogba is pissed. And Ray's like, Usagi, did you forget to do something with your little scepter there? And she's like, oh yeah, whoops. But before she can act, Dogba throws 5 glowing collars out. And then they clasp around the necks of the soldiers. And they lead to chains that Dogba yanks on and throws the sailors to the ground. Where's this going? It looks bad.
Dark.
But this is when Artemis strikes. He goes tornado claw on Dogba's ass. Actually, her face. And she tosses him aside. Sailor Moon hits the MPH, and Dogba goes to that big pound in the sky.
Yes.
Or the great animal kingdom. The dark henge shatters, and Esme is foiled once again. Esme waits a beat, then laughs uproariously and says, you think you've won? You're so wrong. Is my leg warm? The puppy is peeing on her again.
I know.
This kid has great comedic timing. I assume the scientists are okay. The danger is past. The girls are now playing with the once again kind animals. And Ami says, this old dog looks like a teacher at my cram school. Ray says, he looks kind of like Grandpa. And Mako says, he looks like the grandpa of the senpai that broke my heart. Which... you gotta stick to that shtick.
Yeah, and she sticks to it, so...
Shtick it to him. Sitting under an umbrella are Luna and Artie. Luna still says, Artemis, you're an idiot. But this time you did well. And Artemis says, well, once I catch them in my dragnet, the enemy's tactics are child's play. Luna thinks that he may have won by accident, but still, result. Chibiusa comes flying in the gates, screaming, why did you leave me behind? And she's spinning her backpack like a kid would do. It flies out of her hand, and it strikes Artie for one more instance of pet abuse.
Yeah.
Comedy comes in threes.
Right smack in the head again, yeah.
Everyone says, you're an idiot! And the credits roll.
I know!
And Artemis as the idiot.
Yes. Oh my god, I know. It's a little much. I actually when I watched it the second time, I decided to do a tally of how many times artist was called stupid or dumb throughout the episode. And so Luna calls him stupid twice, but and another time asked if he did something stupid again. So I'm counting, so 3 there. And then Artemis is called dumb by Luna, like, I think 5 times. The last one is everyone in unison.
Right.
He's called dumb or a dummy. So 3 plus 5. So that's like 8 times this poor cat is called dumb or stupid this entire episode. He's laughed at twice. He has multiple head injuries. I just feel really bad for him.
He's a cartoon.
I know that.
But also there is a role that gets played in these shows, these animes, these team shows, where there's a character that is only marginally effective, but is there for everyone to sort of laugh at. And if it's got 2 legs, it's Usagi. If it's got 4 legs, it's Artemis. Only Usagi has the benefit of having her name on the top of the show,
right?
And also being the one that kills all the bad guys at the end,
right?
Whereas Artemis is like, look, this is a problem that we've had ever since they revealed that Artemis was, living inside the video game machine or whatever was going on with that. Like that was basically like the end of, once we saw behind the curtain, what's the wizard do after that? I guess he gives ironic presents to all the people that were looking for important things.
Right.
And then that's it, right?
Yeah.
So we don't oh no, wait, they made a prequel with James Franco.
I have not seen it.
Maybe that's a bad example.
Yeah,
but the point is that he's not important in the story.
But it's supposed to be his episode.
It is his episode.
That's what, okay, so it bothers me that we are so comfortable with calling him stupid and dumb that it's done so much in this episode. And then it also bothers me that he's supposed to be the star, quote unquote, of this particular episode, and he just gets laughed at. And I feel like in some ways it's because he's not only is he the second cat, he's the only boy on the team. I feel like he's an easy target.
Then it's all deserved.
Whoa, I didn't say that.
Well, I don't know. Now that I am becoming somewhat familiar with another incarnation of this franchise, the live action show, I can't imagine them. You're right. He is more sinned against than sinning. Like, I can't imagine any other character, unless there's a Motoki live action solo episode where he just talks to his turtle all day. And people are calling him
Artemis
stupid. Definitely gets it. Yeah. Okay. Yes. And match the exact 1 for 1. Yeah. He gets called stupid 8 times. Yeah. Nobody else gets this much abuse, but what are you going to do?
Well, I also just feel like, maybe he's the butt of jokes sometimes, but I don't really feel like he's usually the quote unquote stupid character. Do you feel that way?
I feel like he is, when he is doing something, Luna generally contributes positively when they need something. So she's like, competent. Look out, you got to do this. Yeah. The things that she says help. He often says things, and maybe it's because he has a man's voice. Mm-hmm. He often says things, but they don't help at all. And he's like, you have to do this. And they're like, what? What's that? We're looking for a dinosaur here. How's that going to help us?
Maybe this is maybe his character isn't as developed as Luna's in some ways.
Well, he definitely isn't. I mean, he was introduced as, as mean as Flavor Flav. Yeah. And I don't think he's ever really evolved beyond that. I mean, I didn't walk into this room expecting to do like a referendum on Artemis, but it's kind of what we're doing right now.
No, I personally love Artie. I just, I was rooting for him for this episode, and I feel like
he gets it done.
I know, but even at the end, they're laughing at him. Yeah. Like, at least at the end. Yeah, I know, but at least at the end, have him be on top.
Of their shoulders? Because they're throwing them a parade?
That's right.
This show's too cynical for that. Oh. Have we talked about the cynicism in this show?
I don't know if we have a whole lot. Like, what are you thinking?
Why wouldn't it be that? Mm-hmm. I'm not saying it's supposed to be as so open-faced as to be like the Teletubbies or something like that.
All right.
But I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying that children's entertainment can be like that. So it's like, Artie did it. Very good. Like Dora the Explorer was like that for years. And other assorted kid shows.
I understand.
I can't think of any right now. Yeah. But like Sesame Street is for very small children. And yet Sesame Street still is the comedy of Jim Henson. His comedy DNA is there. And so it is, there is sarcasm, and there are asides, and there is Bert and Ernie is always messing with Bert, and it's driving him nuts. Mm-hmm. And there is that slight bent of cynicism that you find in all comedy, especially adult comedy, but not often in things that are supposed to be funny or entertaining for children.
Yeah.
And that is, you have that in this show in spades, which is why I don't feel too bad about everybody ragging on a character. Pick any sitcom. There's a quote unquote idiot character on that sitcom everybody makes fun of. He's just that character.
I guess I just didn't, before this episode, I never really viewed him like that.
Well, like, found his niche.
Of the two cats, he's the not as competent one, but, it's just because Luna has most of the answers, and she was there first, and she has confidence, in spades.
He's the snarf.
The snarf? What?
Look it up, people.
What is that?
Maybe it's an Urban Dictionary thing and we'll get in trouble. I don't know.
Oh, boy. I did want to go back to Minako's room. So I do think that you were right. I think that it's full of this plushy...
I didn't see a snow monkey, but it's probably there.
No, I don't think it's like a 1-to-1.
It's not like a reverse labyrinth.
No,
actually, it's just a labyrinth, because all the monsters we learn that they're based off of the things in her room.
Right.
But they presumably were always the things in her room.
Right, exactly. Yeah. No, I don't think it's like that, but maybe it's supposed to be kind of I don't know. But yeah, it's just supposed to be like, oh, we have an animal refugee, so this is Minako's.
Yeah, but it's just weird. If somebody got Labyrinth in this universe, it'd be Minako.
You think so?
You have no power over me.
Yeah, I could see her getting really into that. She doesn't have any siblings, though.
What if she said, wish the Goblin King would take Artemis away?
Oh, no. And then Artemis is wearing a red and white striped shirt.
Cat, magic cat. Cat, magic cat. Super coolie. This is an Artemis episode, and yet somehow not a Mako jam. Although,
good point.
It does become an Usagi Mako jam at the end.
At the end, it does. Yes.
Keep doing these. Why don't you two just move in together? Why don't you just back the U-Haul up and you guys gonna have Sailor Moon Venus? Make your own show.
I mean, I don't know.
Moon and Venus.
You have a problem with this all of a sudden, huh? Like they're too similar.
Or Venus and Moon. The only planet.
Yeah.
I guess Mercury doesn't have a moon either. Venus has no moon.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But she does now. Venus loves Moon.
Yeah.
That's my ship.
Okay. All right. That's good.
We found it. We found my ship.
There you go.
How would you describe Just Enough Trope? We are the Just Enough Trope podcast. I'm your host, Caliban, joined as always by my co-host.
Hi, I'm Mikan Hana.
Oh, no, does this mean they can hear all the things I yell at the TV during Downton Abbey?
Why did you do that?
How do you plead?
Let the game begin. Yeah, check these fresh moves. Oh!
Don't shoot man in face.
This isn't the Save Gotham fundraiser.
It's the Chill Family Reunion.
Master Yoda assigned a Padawan to this bold Jedi.
I think it's pronounced Padawan.
Oh, Padawan, excuse me.
Hey, it's getting late. I think Ralph's going to want his motorcycle back.
Go jerk off the pictures of Jean Grey.
I am freaking getting old.
Yeah, I noticed the life clock was blinking in your hand.
Get out of here, Wilson. Go fight the Teen Titans or something.
I'm unkillable, not unwoundable.
You like Sailor Moon, right? Why don't you sail on this
Oh, wow.
Just Enough Trope. News, reviews, and geek fondue. Every Monday on the Just Enough Trope podcast network.
Loving me never have a say. You so sorry.
What?
For Kyoro Miru, or Curiously Looking Around, where we talk about elements of Japanese culture within the episode, today I thought we would talk about dogs in Japan. Pets have been increasing in numbers throughout Japan during the 2000s. The Japanese quote-unquote pet boom can be traced back to 2003, where it was estimated that the combined number of dogs and cats in Japan have outnumbered the number of children.
Well, yeah.
I mean, we
know
talked
what that's
about that a little bit. There's a lot of different factors at play there. But according to an annual survey by the Japan Pet Food Association, as of October 2020, the approximate total number of dogs and cats in Japan was 18.13 million, where the Japanese citizen population of those under 15 was estimated to be only 15.3 million. But I do want to point out that this is a survey, and so these numbers have to do with like who responds to the survey, as well as like knowing like the number of children was probably dependent on the census. Yeah. So it's not, an exact science by any means, but
counting isn't an exact science.
Numbers, not exact. But
notoriously unreliable.
Well, I mean, but it looks like pretty good, more pets than kids in Japan. But although Japan's crowded environment is not necessarily super pet friendly, the Japanese have found ways to incorporate their pets into their everyday lives. One method is to choose small dog breeds as their companions because they don't have as much space. And some common dog breeds for Japanese families are Chihuahuas, miniature Dachshunds, and toy poodles. The most common reason for choosing small breeds is, of course, lack of space and easy cleaning. But there are 6 Japanese dog breeds that are called Nihon Ken and are regarded as Japan's national dogs.
Ooh.
So the Nihon Ken include the Shiba Inu, the Akita Inu, Kishu Ken, Shikoku Ken, Hokkaido Ken, and Kai Ken. So I would say the vast majority of those dogs are kind of similar to the Shiba Inu and the Akita Inu, and they have kind of like a wolf or fox-like face.
Yeah.
And they kind of have like fur that's like similar to like maybe like a husky, and they kind of look similar. There's one in particular that looks kind of like a husky. Mm-hmm. Like the Hokkaido Inu is typically white. And I guess that makes sense because if they're from Hokkaido, they blend in with the snow.
Yeah.
The Kai Ken is probably the most unique looking out of these 6 different breeds, and it tends to be kind of smaller, and it's sometimes nicknamed the tiger dog.
Ooh. Because
it has like black and gold coloring. But it does have very pointy ears and kind of a shorter tail, and it is a little bit smaller. But yeah, I mean they're just cute dogs, you know. The Shikoku Ken is the one I was thinking of that looks kind of like a husky, but they have kind of like a rounder face than huskies typically do. But the Shiba Inu is probably one of the most popular dogs in Japan, and it can grow to be 2 feet tall and weigh up to 25 pounds, so it's a bigger dog.
Yeah.
Some Japanese prefer the Shiba Inu because they are family friendly and have a lifespan of up to 15 years, which may be a little bit longer than some of these smaller dogs. But you will find like Shiba Inu merchandise like all over Japan. Like this is like if Japan had a national dog, it would be the Shiba Inu. You know, you find their images on like everything, like clothing, keychains, you know, you name it. So what?
What's the American national dog?
Golden Retriever.
German Shepherd, probably.
Oh, well, I would say Golden Retriever, but maybe
cool,
that's me.
Like the Chihuahua. I suppose the Chihuahua is probably just the dog of Chihuahua province, right?
I guess.
Yeah. The state of Chihuahua. Mm-hmm. What kind of dog was Hachiko?
I will get to that.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of you.
But
that's the only Japanese dog I know.
Hachiko is one of the Nihon Ken, and we'll get to it in just a moment. Okay. But the Shiba Inu are they're alert and agile dog that copes very well with mountainous terrain and hiking trails. The Shiba Inu was originally bred for hunting. It's a relatively fastidious breed, and it likes to keep itself clean, and it probably licks its fur almost as much as like a cat does.
Wow.
Because it wants to keep itself clean. They are pretty easy to housebreak or potty train within the house. In many cases, they will housebreak themselves.
I'll take care of this.
Yeah, pretty much. Like having their own...
Dog takes the newspaper, spreads the newspaper out. Be like, oh, this is corner good over here.
Oh my God.
Can I have some privacy, please?
Yeah, right. Why are you looking at me?
Door.
Having their owner simply put them outside after meal times and naps is usually enough to teach them where they can and cannot go to the bathroom.
So a doggy door and you're all set.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you can afford that, hopefully,
Well, some of these, like that 160 square foot apartment that we saw, it's basically like a doghouse for humans.
Well,
so
yeah, that's true.
That might be tough for a dog.
I think that would be very tough for a dog. I think one of the characteristics, the distinguishing characteristics of the Shiba Inu is something called the Shiba Scream.
Whoa!
So apparently, when sufficiently provoked or unhappy, the Shiba Inu will produce a loud, high-pitched scream. This can occur when attempting to handle the dog in a way that is deemed unacceptable.
Oh no!
Yeah. The Shiba Inu may also emit a very similar sound during periods of great joy, such as the return of the owner after an extended absence or the arrival of a favored human guest. So I don't know. Maybe it's just like I am feeling emotional right now.
Sure.
So
it's like a wine on steroids.
Yeah. Exactly.
Ooh.
And I think
Wine with steroids.
that doesn't sound good.
For the connoisseur bodybuilder who's enjoys a good red or a white.
They're a fan of
progesterone.
A fan of French.
And the grapes are huge. They're like basketballs. Sorry.
No, it's all good. The Japanese also have an even larger breed, which is the Akita or Akita Ken. This is the type of dog that Hachiko was. So Hachiko, who lived from November 10th, 1923 to March 8th, 1935. I don't know why it's important for me to state.
12 years.
Yeah. Yes.
A lot of those spent in one spot?
Yep.
Like Futurama?
Yep. So Hachiko was a Japanese Akita dog remembered for his remarkable loyalty to his owner.
Richard Gere.
No.
Sorry. there's that movie.
Uso da yo. Yeah, there is a movie about Hachiko that Richard Gere is in, but it's not Richard Gere. No, Hachiko's owner was named Hidesaburo Ueno. And Hachiko would meet Ueno at Shibuya Station every day, and Shibuya's in Tokyo, every day after his commute home. Ueno, who was a professor at the Tokyo Imperial University, died suddenly of a cerebral hemorrhage while at work on May 21st, 1925. So he had only had Hachiko for a little under 2 years when this happened. Yeah. Hachiko would come to Shibuya Station every day and wait for him when he came home. And then he did this. He didn't know he died. So he came to the station that day and waited for him, and he didn't show up. And then he continued to do this until Hachiko died.
Super smart and super dumb at the same time. Do you know what I mean? It's very smart that he could go, it's 4:50. I better get down to Shibuya. Right. And then meet his owner there. But, the fact that, 9 years goes by and the dog's like, I don't think he's coming.
Yeah, I know.
You think the dog is... Or maybe it just became custom after a while. I was like, what do I do with myself?
I think maybe it did kind of become
because he must have been a celebrity of some recognition.
He did become so. So initial reactions from people, especially from those working at the station, were not particularly friendly.
Get out of here.
Yeah, they weren't really excited about this dog hanging around every day for probably hours.
Whenever they yelled at him, he screamed. So
no. However, after the first appearance of an article about Hachiko in the Asahi Shimbun on October 4th, 1932, people started to bring Hachiko treats and food during his wait. So I think that's kind of cute. I looked into this a little.
Well, that's why he kept coming.
Well, after a while, but
after a while, it's like, Master who?
But that was
I'm making out like a bandit.
I know, but that was in 32, and at that time he'd been doing it for years and years already. But so I looked into it, and it's really weird, the connections with this story. So apparently, a student of Ueno's, I think it was a student of Ueno's, was doing a study on Akitas and noticed Hachiko at Shibuya Station and followed the dog to this home that was where the person who lived there was the gardener for Ueno, and told this researcher that Hachiko had been going to the station every day to wait for Ueno. So then, not only folded that into his research, but wrote all these articles about this dog, and it finally got picked up by the Asahi Shimbun, and that's it. Hachiko became a nationally known dog at that point. Yeah. So during his lifetime, Hachiko was held up in Japanese culture as an example of loyalty and fidelity. Well after his death, he continues to be remembered in worldwide popular culture with statues, movies with Richard Gere, books, and appearances in various media. Hachiko is known in Japanese as Chuken Hachiko, which means faithful dog Hachiko. And Hachi means 8. And ko, which originates as a suffix once used for ancient Chinese dukes. So Hachiko could roughly translate as Mr. 8 or Sir 8.
Sir 8.
Yeah. I think it's interesting because ko, when it's used as a suffix for women, is supposed to be small and cute.
Ah.
So I kind of thought that it was like small, cute 8.
What's a little cute 8?
But I don't know. I mean, I think that,
8.
like, it could be, yeah, right. It probably is, like, Sir 8, you know, but...
Richard Gere movie. And they ask him why he still comes every day, and he says, "I got nowhere else to go."
Oh, no! Single tier Hachiko!
That's a Richard Gere joke.
Oh.
That's fascinating. And I bet that bronze statue that they've got at Shibuya now, I bet the head and the back are smooth and golden from people patting that statue, right?
Yeah. So that statue first appeared in April 1934. It was bronze, and it was sculpted by Teru Ando. But it was recycled for the war effort.
Well, okay.
In World
Sorry,
War II.
Hachiko. You're going home.
Yep. And then in 1948, Takeshi Ando, who was the son of the original artist, made a second statue, and that statue is still there.
Huh.
And the station entrance near the statue is named Hachiko Guchi, meaning the Hachiko entrance exit. And it was one of the major ways you get in and out of Shibuya Station.
Nice.
Yeah. I also wanted to talk about, especially since it's a pretty big part of the episode, what animal refugee centers are like in Japan. Although they're not as prevalent as the Humane Society is in the U.S., they do exist.
Okay.
Animal Refuge Kansai, or ARC, is an officially recognized NPO or nonprofit organization and has regular adopt-a-pet events in both Kansai and the Tokyo area. ARC is an animal refugee center that takes in homeless and abandoned animals, similar to what we saw in the episode.
Yeah.
They're given food, shelter, veterinary care, and once well, they are eligible to be adopted. And rehoming is a very large part of ARC. Since it was founded 30 years ago, 3,274 dogs and 1,390 cats have been adopted.
Nice.
ARC, interestingly enough, was established in 1990 by Elizabeth Oliver, an expat from England, who still represents the nonprofit today. Oliver originally came to Japan to teach English, but after seeing many injured animals on the street, she began asking friends for help rescuing them. Over time, ARC grew as a nonprofit as more animals were rescued, and several volunteers were hired as full-time staff members.
The only thing I know about dogs in Japan is that there is, there was an emperor, I think the 5th Tokugawa emperor.
Mm-hmm.
Made a lot of laws about protecting animals and stuff like that, and
particularly dogs.
Yeah, and they called him like the Inu Shogun.
Yes,
and that's not a compliment. They were like making fun of him. He's like, why is he making all these laws about dogs? Who cares?
Apparently, I was reading about that. I don't know. Apparently, he was also the year he was born was the year of the dog.
The year of the dog. Oh, okay.
And
he's just looking out.
Well, he had a dog, and he was very protective of his dog, but he also, I think, because of being born the year of the dog, felt like he had some sort of responsibility to. But I think it's a good thing because animals can't speak up for themselves. So I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing, but
it's also this is 5 shoguns into. The period of peace, right? Mm-hmm. This is after the Warring States period. So now you're not worried about getting killed by some warlord or something like that.
So now we can make animal protective laws.
Yeah.
Right.
So if you're an emperor and you're a devout Buddhist and you're like, we got to take care of these animals and take care of nature.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. It should also be mentioned that some pet cafes in Japan, especially some in bigger cities, specialize in rehoming stray dogs, cats, and other small animals. So I actually didn't know that. The Hogo Ken Cafe, with locations in Tokyo, Chiba, Osaka, and Hyogo, is one of these cafes. And since the animal's well-being at these type of cafes is a priority, children who are like preschool age or younger are not always allowed in these type of cafes, because it's not about like cat cafes most of the time in Japan are about you going and petting the cat and having a fun time. And so kids can go to that. That's fine. But so
this is taking care of the dogs, but the sale of things in the cafe subsidizes the taking care of the dogs. And eventually we're going to try to get the dogs some homes.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Exactly. Moving on to something a little bit darker. In Japan, dogfighting is not illegal and is considered a family activity.
What?
Yeah. So
can't wait for that episode.
Kid friendly. Outside of a dogfighting arena, attendees cook yakitori skewers and kids eat bento and watermelons. So, we're just Japanese tailgating outside the dogfight.
All right.
Yeah.
I got my money on the big Akita.
Yeah, well, no, it's not. I'll get to that, but that Akitas don't fight, but in these kind of fights,
they just scream.
Yeah, well,
all right, get him out of here.
Oh my god. So
he sees Michael Vick coming.
Yeah, well, maybe that Shogun should have stuck around a little bit longer because animal rights laws in Japan are shockingly minimal compared to other developed countries. In fact, there is only one national law in Japan regarding animal rights, and that's the Welfare and Management of Animals Act, which was passed in 1973.
Well, and then Mr. or Ms. Humane Society had to come over from England and go, hey, you guys thought about maybe doing a thing?
Well, I'm going to talk about her a little bit more.
Oh, boy.
And is, according to Elizabeth Oliver from ARC, quote, completely ineffective. In the years since the law went into effect, quote, nothing has improved, she says.
Great.
That's partially because the law is really unclear. The law makes hurting an animal, quote, without reason, a crime.
What's the reason?
That's what I want to know.
Coming at me with a knife.
Right. But fails to mention what a good reason might be, or if there even is a good reason. Even in explicit cases of animal cruelty, the police seldom act, Oliver says. So apparently, maybe just one pet store in so many years that has had ill practices was shut down out of I don't even know how many.
Huh.
And the other reason, and this is maybe the chief reason, why dogfighting continues to persist legally is its deep connection to the Yakuza.
What?
Yes. So according to Oliver, quote, in Japan, anything to do with dogs is run by gangsters. In the old days, they made money from prostitution and gun running, but now they make a huge profit in the pet business. For the Yakuza, the animal market is a dependable business. A purebred animal at a high-end Tokyo pet shop can cost you about $7,000 US dollars. And there's a lot of money in dog breeding as well. On average, a Tosa puppy, and a Tosa is the only breed that is still used legally to dog fight in Japan. And they are sometimes, to give you kind of a little bit of a mental image, they're sometimes called a Japanese Mastiff.
Okay.
So they were they were crossbred with Mastiffs and other fighting dogs, and now they're this new breed called Tosa. Uh-huh. And I should say new. They've been around for a while, but so a Tosa puppy costs somewhere between $5,000 to $10,000 US dollars, while a dog with a winning fighting record, so this is a fighter,
right?
Can go up to $15,000. And from 1986 to 1991, during Japan's bubble economy, tosas sometimes sold from anywhere between $20,000 to $30,000. So that's a lot of money for a single dog.
Yeah, for a single dog.
For a single dog.
Wow.
And this is a quote from, I think this is kind of interesting, from a 2016 article in Newsweek. And this is spoken by somebody who was involved in Japan with animal protection. And they stated, quote, "The practice is deeply tied with mafia activities. Both government and private animal protection stakeholders are quite afraid that involvement can jeopardize their safety," end quote. And they shared this anonymously due to the fear of retaliation. So they themselves were afraid that if they, made this quote, that it would come back on them badly. That's how afraid people are of the Yakuza.
So, like, a dog being killed or at least severely injured until he can't fight by another dog is horrific.
Mm-hmm.
But allow me to compare this possibly to horse racing.
Okay.
In
Fair.
America or Western countries.
Yeah.
Because are we good to the horses? Do the horses
not.
need to do this? Are they jacked up, on speedballs when they do this? But it is a source of revenue for the mob that owns the tracks and that stuff,
it's
right?
Kind of a similar thing.
Yeah. And so, why do we still do this to animals?
Yeah.
Because there is an interest there and there's money there. And where there's money, there are officials who get some of that money and then go, it's a big deal. It's the Preakness, everybody.
Yeah.
I'm down with the Preakness.
Oh my goodness. I mean, something else that I came across was that people who do this say, "Oh, these dogs want to fight. they're if we didn't have them fight, they would act up in other ways." And like then people,
What?
Yeah.
You don't want these dogs
right
graffitiing and being on street corners smoking.
They're aggressive towards each other, so
it's like an after-school program for dogs.
But it's like you guys train and bred them to be that way.
Brutally.
So it's, I don't know, it's kind of really infuriating. And then like somebody else was like, and if that is really the case, if they really are that aggressive, then maybe we should stop breeding these dogs. I don't think that that's the case.
Or stop abusing them.
Yeah.
Because dogs aren't naturally aggressive. I mean,
yes,
all dogs are naturally aggressive. They come from wolves.
Territorial.
But domesticated dogs are not that way. We had the same thing with pit bulls, which is still going on today with pit bulls. And I've known plenty of pit bulls, and they are sweet. They can be very sweet. Very lovely little dogs. But yeah, if you, beat and torture and condition a dog to attack, you could do it with chihuahuas. Now, I might pay to see a chihuahua fight. They're yapping at each other. Come on.
Oh my God.
One of them keeps asking for Taco Bell.
The other one's wearing a cute little tutu.
Yeah. Blood-stained tutu.
Yeah, I can see it now.
Tinkerbell in this corner. Tinkerbell.
Itadakimasu with Usagi. What did Usagi eat in this episode? So, of course, this episode starts in a restaurant kitchen with a chef cutting up vegetables. And they think Artie is there to steal food. And then we see, the name of the restaurant, which you talked about, Restaurant Chateau Latour, so French. And I actually looked up Chateau Latour is a French wine estate rated as first growth on their 1855 Bordeaux classification. So it sounds fancy.
Have they been tested for steroids?
We should look into that. But guess who it's owned by? It's owned by Group A Artemis.
Whoa!
Yeah! So that's like a very,
that's an Easter egg for no one.
I know. I know.
Some French translation of the cartoon. Guys watching it. Sacre bleu, chat. And then the guy's like, "Whoa, wait a minute, whoa!"
I know.
Chateau Latour.
I know. So I thought that was
pours the bottle out.
thought that was really interesting. The estate has been around for a while, but Group A Artemis was founded in 1992 as a family investment vehicle. So it would have they kind of took over this vineyard around the same time that probably just before this came out. So it seems like really weird.
Maybe this is insider information.
Maybe
somebody on the staff is like, yeah, I just bought a stock in this wine company. Check it out.
Yeah, maybe. So yeah, I mean, we already talked about what we thought some of Artie's favorite food would be. But I do think it is interesting that he's only checking out restaurants. And I thinking back to when they were trying to find the Dark Kingdom's hideout, and him and Mina went to public baths.
Right.
Maybe that was Mina's idea. I don't know. But Usagi was going to restaurants with Luna. He didn't bring that up. But
he's not digging in a dumpster behind a kabini here. He's he's going to a nice restaurant.
Exactly. So yeah, he's quote unquote working. So
yeah. Well, he's just gonna expense it.
Right, exactly. on his talking cat credit card. Villain gauge, where you rate a baddie 1 to 5 dark stars, 5 being the most wicked. The droid in this episode is named Dogba, and it's pronounced Doguba in Japanese. And I mean, her design, she's kind of got tan skin, and I mean, well,
all right. The show, as far as I'm concerned, is officially off the hook because this has nothing. There are no stereotypes, as far as I know, about POCs being lion tamers.
No,
because she has a lion tamer outfit.
She does.
I figured this. I was looking at this. I was trying to figure out what it was, and my weird computer brain immediately made some connections. And obviously, she's got the whip, but the whole she is both a lion tamer and the lion tamer's assistant put together.
Yes,
because she has this. It is a modern because her legs are bare, but it's got the little ruffles that would normally be like modesty ruffles on like a Victorian costume, a performer, a dancer, or something like that. And she's got the butt ruffle too.
Yep.
Which is just vestigial now because her cheeks are coming out of this thing. But then she's also got the thick strongman belt.
That's true.
And so she's a very circusy, carnival-y kind of look.
Topped off with a whip. So.
Yeah, topped off with the whip and everything.
Yeah.
And so, I think that, as far as I know, there are no stereotypes about, people of color.
I don't think so.
Lion tamers. So, I at this point, I'm good. I'm satisfied. And in fact, to me, it implies some notes from maybe somebody higher up that said, put some people of color in the show.
Maybe.
Do you know what I mean? There's nothing we can do. Our girls are always going to be
our girls,
white Japanese people,
right?
But maybe they're like, let's see some other skin colors on this show. That's all I can think of.
Yeah.
And then once in a while they put one of them in a grass skirt, and it's like, not that one though.
Yeah, don't
make that one orange or something like that.
Right, or don't do the grass skirt,
or just don't do that. Yeah.
Do something else.
I don't have a problem with it. Whatever. She looks like Beyonce.
Yeah, right. I mean, she's got, and she's got pointy ears and a lot of gold jewelry. She's got like gold bangles coming out of her. She's got like white hair, which is interesting, like the top knot, like bun.
Yeah.
And like gold armbands and a gold leg band, which I don't know if I've ever seen before. That just seems like we'll just throw another one in there.
It's just for asymmetry, maybe just to funk it up a little bit.
I think so. And then she's got like purple ankle boots that match her purple unitard, and the ruffles are pink. I mean, she's very cute for a bad guy. Yeah. So she's making it work. But I love what she says when she's disguised as a researcher, which you said earlier.
Yeah.
But I love that she ends it with Dogba. So, Lady Esmeraude, your voice is a little too loud. Dogba.
Yeah. Right.
It's like, and I must say my name. So, so that's pretty good. So, rating. I do like that she, has the balls to tell her boss that she's being too loud. And I like her design more when, especially more when you pointed out the lion tamer and the lion tamer assistant connection there, because I feel like that makes it, I don't know, it's just on theme, on point, because she's kind of making them do circus acts, I guess.
Yeah.
Entertain the
I suppose,
masses.
I don't know. I didn't want to go back through old film, but I suppose you could make a dog, walk on its front legs or something like that, right?
I don't know. It
Yeah.
seems weird, but although I don't understand her plan, because I think maybe the writers of the show, we don't want to replicate things that have happened before, so we don't want to do the same thing.
You don't? Because we've had animals attack people before. When
I know.
We had Pitassos or
the Chanela.
No, with Mr. Kunitachi in the park.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. So a couple different animal episodes, but I was thinking with the Chanela, people bought them in the pet store, brought them home, and then it sucked their energy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There was a
we don't have that kind of
several
time.
step plan. Right.
We're gonna need 50 Cujos to happen here. We need
I
a
know.
mass animal mauling, and then we'll get all the energy we need.
It's just we're gonna entertain and dazzle people for a couple of seconds, and we're just gonna maul them, and it's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
That's the plan. So I'm not entirely sure about that. But I think she was kind of pretty okay, fairly middle of the road for me. So I'm gonna give her 3 out of 5 dark stars.
Okay. I'm gonna go 4, only because
Okay.
I'd be embarrassed to go 5 after you gave it 3. I think this is strong. We've had a couple kind of namby-pamby. The focus hasn't really been on the droids. I think we've talked about this, especially since we've lost the Ayakashi sisters.
Mm-hmm.
These droids are just a means to an end to get that dark henge going, even though it's not working. Or is it? We don't know how much they've. E to F. Where's the needle on the evil black crystals energy tank? So, but I like her design. I like her action. Somebody that can control cute animals and make them evil. I think is a good thing.
Fair.
And you think that she's up against Artemis, how tough is she? But then all the sailors show up, and until he intervenes, she's got him.
Oh, that's true.
So she's powerful as well. She's got a personality. That's always that's worth a star right there. So I go 4 out of 5 dark stars.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. All right. So now we are up to our rating. I love how Artie is going to prove everyone wrong, especially Luna, and then he kind of does by accident. I did like that it was the 2 cat owners who showed up first to help fight in the animal kingdom. And I really do love Artie, and I love we finally get an Artie episode. I just wish it was as good as the Luna episode that gave us Rhett Butler, and that it didn't take so many pot shots to call him stupid and dumb. So I'm going to give this episode 2 out of 5 roses.
Jeez. Well, I don't feel bad about my 3 out of 5 roses in that case, because, I don't know, there's some stuff in this that I really like. Mm-hmm. But, yes, it is overshadowed by a much better episode.
And a much larger
cat. In the episode
cat.
it just overshadows Tokyo. It's a much better episode. If maybe we could have Artemis go on a wacky tour of the back kitchens of the restaurants,
I'd like to see that
in Juban or something like that. But basically, almost replicating 1-to-1 the Luna episode where other animals are getting involved and they're attacking him and stuff like that. It pales in comparison to that episode.
It does.
Also didn't really like the abuse of Artie, although
no,
I didn't hate it as much as you did. It's just, it's part of the conceit of the episode. But a strong Yoma. Sometimes I like it when it isn't all life and death and the sailors are doing their thing, but they're just really just tripping through whatever's going on and forgetting to kill the bad guy, and things are just kind of wacky, and I can handle that. So before I talk myself into a 4, I'm going to land solid 3.
Okay. You're talking yourself into a 4. All right. So my English title is Artemis's Mission, Manifest Aptitude.
What? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, one of these days, you're going to be a native English speaker.
Yeah.
You're going to be ready to print some shirts and have them
have a English merch.
Made in Taiwan and
sure
shipped to the streets of Shibuya.
Yes, exactly.
Alongside the Dragon Ball. I bet they got Calvin peeing on stuff in Japan too, right?
Probably. If this episode was okay. Yeah.
If I get anything out of this, I want Calvin peeing on something from Japan.
Okay.
And like something I don't understand at all. Like he's peeing on, I don't know, Osaka's football team mascot or something like that. Something that I could never understand.
Right.
But it's still Calvin peeing.
Sure.
The universal truth.
Yes.
Well, I was going to call this Dogba Day Afternoon, but that's a little too close to the actual title of the episode. So instead, I'll go with The Truth About Cats and Dogbas.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Yes. You can love your pets. Just don't love your pets.
Oh, God. Okay. Next episode, we are talking about episode number 80. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
80.
Why not?
Okay. All right. I'm gonna stop saying that every time we reach one with a 0 at the end.
Stop.
Yeah.
And just like and see where we are.
Yeah.
You know, when I went
Where is the cal meter?
My parents are now world travelers that they've retired. But when we went to London in England about 20 years ago, you know, they had just been hardworking people who had just never been able to go anywhere because they were raising 2 kids and we didn't have a lot of money. But we went to London and we were walking around to different landmarks. And every 10 minutes, my mom would turn to me and be like, "We are in London." I'm like,
that's adorable.
You know what gave it away? The weird license plates and the street signs that are on the wall of the building, you know, on every street. Yeah. We are in London. Yeah.
You're like, yeah, Mom.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. So episode number 80, Kyofu no Gene, Hitori Bochi no Ami in Japanese, the terrifying illusion, a me all alone, the English translation, and the English title, Smart Payoff.
You got me. I go into this.
Yeah.
Naked as the day I was born.
Uh-huh.
I have no idea what's going to happen here.
Right.
It's something to do with a me.
And there's an illusion she's alone.
There's an illusion that she's alone.
Yes.
And she's going to pay somebody off.
Well, that's the English title, so I don't know what Deke's doing half the time. I swear they're like, smart payoff? It's about the smart one, right?
Animal Instinct, smart payoff. These all sound like direct-to-video, like sex movies.
Oh.
You know?
Gross.
Under the gun.
Yeah.
The flame of passion. Smart payoff.
It sounds pulpy.
Mizuno Ami in.
Smart payoff. She's in this little black dress and she's got this tiny
it's okay.
little gun.
It's weird that the characters are.
Okay.
Look.
You started it.
I started it.
Yeah.
Baka Caliban.
That's right. Well, that's our show for this week. In the name of the moon, we'll be punishing you next week with another episode of Sailor Noob.
Cattica!